Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mick. Welcome to the making of another media menu. So, as you may or may not know, I have recently pivoted from just doing monthly TBRs, using my unread books from these 4 shelves to make a list of books that I would like to get to in a given month with my trusty TBR jar, to using an additional 2 jars that contain prompts to lead me to visual media and then basically like shorter form media like podcasts, video essays, etc. We can get into the nitty-gritty later, but basically just using 2 more prompt jars to lead me to the creation of a larger form list of media that I would like to get to in a given month. I've only done it for the months of August and September. August, I did not check off all of the media on that list, not even like close. September, I'm filming this a little bit early, so I don't know how successful I'm gonna end up being. I don't know. But I wanted to try something a little bit different this month. We're gonna add 1 more layer to this already slightly difficult to explain for some reason situation. I am just going to add a slightly randomized element to this, and instead of having a predetermined number of things in each category, I'm gonna use like a random wheel spinner situation to determine how many of each thing we're gonna have on the menu. So, I'm sure that there's like a much more organized way that I could do this, but what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna use this wheel of names situation that I found, and I'm just gonna put the category titles in here. So, we have appetizer, entree, parentheses, visual, entree, parentheses, book. And then we're gonna do dessert, which is something that I added last month. And I basically just used it like, okay, please. And I basically just used it like a free pick. So if I happen to spin dessert, I'm gonna be able to just put whatever I want on the media menu. And basically my plan is that I'm gonna spin this a total of 8 times. So the menu in total is gonna have 8 items on it, but I wish that there weren't sirens happening right now. The intention is the menu is gonna have a total of 8 items on it for the month of October, and whatever category that the wheel lands on indicates which prompt jar I'm gonna pull from. Dessert is just a free pick, like I can put whatever I want in that slot. I can just put a random book, a random movie, a random TV show, a random podcast episode, whatever I want in that slot. It's just at the end of this video, my menu will have 8 items on it. So, I am feeling very much in the mood to curate a seasonal experience today. Like I am usually someone that gets very much into reading or watching things or just like overall curating a seasonal vibe, and I feel like I have not given into that as intensely as I usually do. Like I definitely like had a good summer, but I feel like it wasn't as intensely summer capital S as my summers usually are. So I would love to have a fall that's like fall capital F, if at all possible, which does mean leaning into the fall vibes of it all. So that being said, I have a feeling that if we get any desserts, they will significantly lean fall themed in nature. So, also there is just the added chance with this, given that it is very like, you know, chance based, that we could have all of one thing and none of another. So we're just gonna have to see how that goes. It's truly anyone's guess how this is gonna play out. I just wanted to try something a little bit different. So, here we go. All right, spin of the wheel number 1. Okay, we're starting off with an entree, and it's a book. That means it's her time. She gets to start off today. I usually don't use my mic when filming this, but there's a lot going on in and around my house today, so I felt like I just needed to control the audio a bit. So this is gonna be an interesting experience trying to do picking of books and the picking of prompts one-handed. We'll see how it goes. Prompt number 1. Okay, from a favorite author. Favorite author-wise, I love Frederick Bachman. There's Always the Winners, which is the 3rd book in the Airtown trilogy, which I have put on many a TBR this year and I have not read yet still. So that's definitely an option. I do have 2 more Bachman books right here. I have My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, and I have A Man Called Uva, which I did actually watch the movie adaptation of recently, which is my bad because I didn't mean to do that, but I started it with my parents before remembering why I hadn't watched the movie yet, and it was because I wanted to read the book first. And now I feel like I have to like wait a while until I forget the premise of the movie before I can read the book. So she'll be sitting here for a while, but I do eventually want to read it. Anyways, I do really like Taylor Jenkins Reid. So we have 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid's right here. 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid's two Taylor Jenkins Reid books. One True Loves and Daisy Jones and the Six. Again, I have put this on so many TBRs and just have not ever picked it up, which is not great. One True Loves is like one of her classic romance novels, which I haven't read any of those. This is an option. Doing this one-handed is not easy. Cassandra Clare, Swordcatcher, I have owned for a significant amount of time at this point, and I always bypass it when I am talking about potential TBRs. But if there was ever a time to read a fantasy book, for my brain specifically, it would be the fall. So this is a contender, as well as Chain of Iron, which is the second book in the Last Hours trilogy. Trilogy? Yeah, trilogy. It was one of the Shadowhunters series, and I read the first book last year. It's been a really long time at this point. I really, really liked Ninth House, and I do really like Leigh Bardugo, so I feel like Hellbent is an option, but I don't know if I would say that Leigh Bardugo is like one of my favorite authors. So I think that that's probably like, those are the ones that I would say fall under the favorite authors distinction out of the books that I have on my TBR. I do have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, and The Secret History is one of my all-time favorite books because of the writing style specifically, which I do think gives Donna Tartt the favorite author, like one of the favorite author distinctions. However, I don't know that I'm like ready to commit to that right now. So I think vibe-wise, the thing that I'm feeling the most is probably a Cassandra Clare. But the question is, I guess, do I want a Shadowhunters situation, or do I want like a fantasy situation? And the answer is I don't know. And actually the question that's even more important is like, is this actually the mood that I'm in? Anytime I start reading a Shadowhunters book, I remember how much I love them, and then I'm just like automatically like, oh wait, yeah. So maybe I should do this, just put this on the TBR, let myself get back into the world and be reminded of the fact that I really, really do love reading these books, and just work towards finishing this series. And for now, at least for this first poll, I think I can let the winners be potentially a later on decision, just because it is definitely more of a winter book series. So I think I'm gonna go Chain of Iron. One of these days I'll get to Swordcatcher. And you know what? Hopefully it will be this fall. I really would like to get that off my physical TBR because I've had it for so long. So soon. Like I said, this is a novel in the Shadowhunters universe, and it is the second book in a series, so I can't give you a ton of context in terms of where we're at in the grand scheme of things in this story, but as is par for the course for like a Shadowhunters novel, this is a book that follows a ton of different characters in a larger world where there is a genre of warrior people that exist to primarily like fight demons and kind of keep humans safe from the supernatural, if that's even like the proper way to explain that. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that this takes place in the 1900s, like this series specifically. Okay, yeah. It takes place after the Infernal Devices series, which is the prequel series to the Mortal Instruments series, which is like the first and primary series that exists in the world of the Shadowhunters universe. Yes, it's okay, so it takes place in 1903, the first book. So early 1900s, it's set in London, and the first book, our heroes are dealing with like a serial killer, I think, that is active in London, and obviously then there's some crossover with the supernatural as well. There's obviously romance, there's friendship, there are a lot of family ties, and it's just a lot of fun for me personally. I always have fun with them. I always get really emotionally attached to the characters, and there's not been one of these series that I have not had a genuinely wonderful time reading them. So this is the only one that I haven't read, haven't finished, the Last Hours series, so I would like to do that, I think, at least. Well, I haven't read the Magnus Bane series, but I've read the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, what's the other one? The Dark Artifices, and now I'm on this one. So anyways, that's that. Book number one, menu item number one, and on to the next. All right, we're gonna spin again. This spinner takes a second. Okay, we got another book. We got another book, which means we're doing the TBR jar again. So, okay, prompt number 2. Okay, start a series. So, in terms of books that I have that are the beginning of a series, so there's that, which is on my 25 and 2025 list. So we could do that. I could also do the Atlas 6, which I'm honestly really scared of this. I don't know if I'm gonna end up liking it. I feel like it's pretty divisive, and I know I like Olivia Blake's writing. I actually met her and got this signed. Why I didn't take Alone with You in the Ether when I know that I love that book, I don't know. I don't, please, I don't know. But this is also on my 25 and 2025. So here's that. We have Caraval, Belladonna, Scythe, Powerless, Dance of Thieves, These Violent Delights, The Marionettes, all of which I think, except for maybe The Marionettes, are young adult starts of a series. That's fun. And then I think that might be, oh, Wild Love, which is the first book in the Rose Hill series, which is a romance, interconnected standalone situation. Oh, and the Bromance Book Club, same thing. So in terms of what sounds the most intriguing to me right this second, I honestly wish that I got more excited about fantasy than I do these days, but something about it, I do think out of everything, these two are my higher priority, obviously because they're on my 25 and 2025 list. And let me see, actually, that being said, if there are any more on that list that are part of the series. Okay, I do have one that actually feels very October on here that's number one in a series. I actually just might have to do. I don't own it physically, but it is on the list. Final decision. All options are from my 25 and 2025 list. We have Throne of Glass, The Atlas Six, and then Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. And I think I have to go Legendborn. I think I have to go Legendborn because it's dark academia. And that's pretty much the only reason why. It's dark academia, and I'm picking it for the month of October. People describe it as young adult ninth house. So I don't really know what else there is to say other than, like, yeah, you know? So we're gonna do that. Like I said, Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I know that there are 3 books out so far, and I think there's gonna be a 4th. It is categorized as a young adult urban fantasy. Our main character's mother is murdered, I think. The first sentence of the description says, after her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants nothing to do with her memories or her childhood home. A residential program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill seems like the perfect escape, until Bree witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus. Flying demon feeding on human energies, a secret society of so-called legend-born students that hunt the creatures down, and a mysterious teenage mage who calls himself a Merlin, who attempts and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything she saw. The mage's failure unlocks Bree's own unique magic and a buried memory with a hidden connection. The night her mother died, another Merlin was at the hospital. Now that Bree knows that there's more to her mother's death than what's on the police report, she'll do whatever it takes to find out the truth, even if that means infiltrating the Legendborn as one of their initiatives. Ooh, okay. I remember. Okay, I'm remembering. It has to do with descendants of King Arthur's knights, which I have always wanted to read something that has to do with the, what is it called? The round table of knights. I think that the lore of that is so interesting, and I've never actually delved into it outside of when I watched the TV show Merlin. So I think I'm gonna eat this up. I really, really think I'm gonna eat this up. I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. I know a lot of people, every time I talk about this in a TBR video and I don't choose it, they yell at me for not choosing it. So this is the time I'm choosing it. Fingers crossed I actually get to it in October. We'll see. Okay, now for menu item number 3. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel again. I'm like, if we get 8 books, that's gonna be crazy. I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So, okay, cute. We got a dessert. Whoa, oh my God. Just threw my phone basically. Okay, so that means I basically get a free pick, which I feel like so far with those two already well on our way to curating some really good October vibes. So I'm wondering if I should do a shorter, like a smaller scale pick. I made a list of things that I could potentially choose for dessert options, like things that were like higher on my list, and like the first things that came to mind as like things I would be really, really excited to get to in the month of October that just felt very fitting for the season. So let me look through these really quick, and then also I need to check in on this battery pack on my little mic receiver thing and make sure that we're reading loud and clear, and then I will circle right back. So 1 second. Okay, hi, I'm back. So the things that I had written down on my dessert list were all like full length things. Half books, half movies. But then I remembered one of the things that I had added to my appetizer length category. I was gonna add it to begin with, and then I actually got recommended it as well in the comments on my last video. So I took it as a sign. I feel like from what I know about it, there's a chance I will really enjoy it. And also I feel like the length of these, they feel palatable. We'll see. I don't know. Could be hit or miss. But it's the Murderbot Diaries, which are little books, but I specifically want to listen to them as audiobooks. The Murderbot Diaries is a science fiction series by Martha Wells about a self-hacking human-like security android called Murderbot that has overridden its own governor module and seeks to understand its own existence while trying to avoid its corporate owners. The series includes novellas and novels and is known for its action, humor, and character-driven story. My only concern is the only reason why I wasn't like obsessed with The Martian and Project Hail Mary is because of the sarcastic, like over-the-top humor, flippant nature of like the main characters in both of those books. And I just am a little bit nervous that that is going to be the tone of this. So let me know if you think that those kind of share that tone. I feel like I've seen the comparison drawn between Project Hail Mary and the Murderbot Diaries, and I could be completely making that up, but I feel like I saw it a couple times. Maybe it was just people doing that because they're both science fiction. So let me know. I liked Project Hail Mary, but I think that the part that I didn't like the most was the voice of the main character. So let me know. Anyways, all that to say, I'm pretty sure that, you know, there's like, I think there's like 8 Murderbot books. I could be wrong. Something like that. They all vary in length, but I'm pretty sure the first one is pretty short. It's called All Systems Red. It is only 3 hours and 17 minutes. So I think, let's see how long the book itself is. Yeah, the book itself is only 144 pages. So all that to say, I think it's the kind of thing that you can get through pretty quickly. I'm sure like the books, because it says it's a combination of novellas and novels, so I'm sure that they vary in length from book to book, and it depends on which one you're on, obviously. But if I like it enough to continue, I feel like it could be like a really fun thing to be alternating between as I go from audiobook to audiobook. Like obviously I'll probably break it up with other things, but I think having a series that I'm working my way through pretty consistently in the car, because I'm in the car a lot, assuming I'm enjoying it, would be really fun. So I'm gonna go with All Systems Red, Murderbot novella number 1 for the first dessert on the media menu. So that's gonna be item number 3. I honestly meant to be writing this down because I feel like I'm gonna forget. So let me do that really quick. Okay, now moving on. We're gonna spin the wheel again. Okay. Entree visual. Very nice. We're getting a nice even spread here. Thank you, wheelofnames.com. We have, okay, we're being really ambitious this month, I guess. Limited series. I do feel like there's actually a decent amount of limited series that I have been wanting to get to. Oh my gosh, wait. There is actually one that just literally swept at the Emmys that I multiple times was like, oh, so I need to watch that like maybe immediately. I do feel like a lot of people have already seen it. Oh, but I don't have Netflix is the only thing. So I will have to figure that out. I don't even know if it's in my watch list. I'm talking about Adolescence, which is a Netflix original. It's a limited series. It's a crime drama. It's about a young boy that's accused of the murder of a classmate, and it's only 4 episodes, which I actually didn't know. That's honestly quite short. I'm pretty sure the actor Owen Cooper, the young boy who was, I'm pretty sure 13 at the time that they filmed, I'm pretty sure he won the Emmy for lead actor in a limited series, which is crazy. I'm pretty sure he was like the youngest actor to win it, or maybe not. Maybe he didn't like set the record, but that's so young. I don't even remember who else he was up against. Let me see. Adolescent star Owen Cooper makes Emmys history as youngest ever male winner in any acting category. At just 15 years old, the British actor won for his supporting role in a limited or anthology series or TV movie. At 15, the British star becomes the first of his age to manage such a feat after winning Best Supporting Actor, correcting myself, in a limited or anthology series or TV movie. That is crazy. Oh my God. And the record was previously held by Scott Jacoby, who was 16 years old when he won in 1973. Anyways, the only thing is I don't have Netflix. I don't remember if either of my roommates have Netflix. I don't remember if we have Netflix on this TV. So I could put this on here, but I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna do it because I've been wanting to watch this. One of my best friends, I'm pretty sure like when this first came out, she watched it and she texted me and asked if I was watching it or if I had watched it, and she told me that it was really good. So I'm gonna put Adolescence on here. I've heard nothing but incredible things, and obviously they swept the Emmy. It was like The Studio, The Pit, and Adolescent. Those 3 shows took like all the awards. So, but in terms of limited or anthology series, Adolescence did sweep. So apparently it's incredible television, and I love like crime / legal / ethical / drama shows that really make you like ponder, am I on the right side of this? Am I on the wrong side of this? Like, what is the truth, capital T? Is there even a truth, capital T? I love that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go adolescence for media menu item number 4. Okay, number 5, spinning the wheel. And we have an appetizer. Okay, now we have one of each. This is good. This is the appetizer jar. She has not been used yet, so here we go. Also, Murderbot Diaries is in here somewhere, so if I pull her. Oh, okay. T. Kingfisher book, which I don't know which one I'm referring to specifically. So T. Kingfisher is an author. I don't know if I explained what the appetizer jar specifically is. The appetizer jar has prompts that hold specific pieces of media, and all of these are just smaller pieces of media than like a full book or a full TV show, full movie that would be in the entree section. So when I put T. Kingfisher book in here, I meant T. Kingfisher has several books that are a lot smaller than like a full novel length book. I've been interested in What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher for a while. I used to pick it up when I would go wander around bookstores because the cover is so interesting to me. I'm pretty sure it's a retelling of the House of Usher story, which I don't know the origin of. I just know that it was made into a TV show by the same guy that did Haunting of Hill House, but I know that's like also a retelling of an original story from somewhere else. I don't know what the origin of it is, but I should look into it, I feel like. But there's that one, and then there's something else by T. Kingfisher. Thornhead is one that was recommended. Thornhead sounds a little more like fairy tale-esque, and it's shorter. It's only 116 pages. This is also a retelling, but this is a fairy tale retelling. It says Princess Trapped in a Tower, so it's giving Rapunzel retelling maybe? And this one is shorter. So maybe I should do this one, just start with a shorter one. This one is 3.93 stars on Goodreads, and What Moves the Dead is 3.86. So I think I'll do that. I'll just give it a try. Why not? I also have not read a fairy tale retelling ever, I don't think, so I would be curious to do that. Oh my gosh, and I marked it as want to read on January 15th, so somebody must have recommended it to me at the beginning of this year, and I just forgot. So, like I said, Princess Trapped in a Tower says this isn't her story. Meet Toadling. On the day of her birth, she was stolen from her family by the fairies, but she grew up safe and loved in the warm waters of fairyland. Nothing with fairies is ever simple. Centuries later, a knight approaches a tower wall of brambles, where the thorns are as thick as your arm and sharp as sword. He's heard there's a curse here that needs breaking, but it's a curse Toadling will do anything to uphold. Okay, interesting. That is going to be item number 5, and it's going to be our first appetizer of the menu. On to spin of the wheel number 6. Okay, a second appetizer. This will be the first media menu to have 2 appetizers. We're switching it up a bit. We're switching it up. Oh. Okay. This just fell out of the cup. I don't know if you saw that. Create Dangerously by Camus. Let me grab it. I'm back. Do I look pink? Whatever. Create Dangerously by Albert Camus. This is a short, tiny little book that one of my friends got me for my birthday, I think 2 years ago. It is only 46 pages long, and I'm pretty sure this is a speech that he gave at some point. It says, Create Dangerously, the Power and Responsibility of the Artist, translated from the French by Sandra Smith. It's really short, and basically it's just Albert Camus' take on the power and responsibility of the artist. It's about creativity and creating and making art. It's an appetizer. I'm again trying to consume things that I would not usually reach for, things that are outside of my comfort zone. I, for the most part, just reach for brain off media. This is something that is brain on. It's also incredibly short. It's not that challenging, but it is the kind of thing that I would like to probably annotate, maybe take notes on, see if I align with what he says. If I think what he says is like worthwhile and enriching, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be like, okay, that was not useful or worth reading at all. But that's the kind of thing that I will have a take on after I read it, instead of just like letting it sit on my shelf for 2 years. So, oh yeah, wait. It literally on the back, it says, in 1957, Nobel Prize winning philosopher Albert Camus gave a speech entitled Create Dangerously, effectively a call to arms for writers and artists at work in a troubled age. He understood the necessity of those making art as a part of civil society. Bold cry for artistic freedom and responsibility, his words today remain as timely as ever. His message, available as a standalone book for the first time, will resonate with a new generation of creative thinkers. So it'll be interesting to see if I resonate with it, if I think it's empowering, if I think it's worth reading again. We'll see. I don't know. I think the cover is really cute. I thought this was a really wonderful gift. She gave it to me along with a journal for my birthday. Very sweet, very thoughtful. I need to read it. So that's going to be item number 6. Spinning the wheel for number 7. Oh my God. Okay, we have a third appetizer. That is crazy. It's about to start getting dark in here, so we think we're gonna try and speed round it really quick. Okay. Okay. 99% Invisible podcast. This was a podcast that I actually found on TikTok when I was looking for podcast recommendations to try. And it's basically just a podcast that highlights the things that are in our everyday today. Oh my gosh, we're losing the sun real fast. And basically these are just things that we see like every day on the day-to-day, specifically in design and in architecture that we don't notice, but that play such a big role in our lives. And this podcast sort of goes through these things and points them out to us and sort of explains the backstory and the origin and the impact. And overall, it just sounds incredibly interesting because that's the kind of thing that I would have no prior knowledge of. And my eyes would be open to a lot of things while listening to it. So wait, this is so interesting. I didn't realize that if you go to the About page of a podcast, it tells you the best place to start. And the host recommends starting with The House That Came in the Mail, the Sear and Roebuck mail order catalog. Starting in 1908, the company that offered America everything began offering what just might be its most audacious product line ever. Houses. House that came in the mail. Okay, wait, maybe this is not exactly what I thought it was. Anyways, I think it would be nice to have a podcast in my podcast rotation that is teaching me something, because as of right now, the only podcasts in my rotation are comedy podcasts, which I think are wonderful and bring joy and dopamine to my life. But a podcast through which I am learning something about the world would also be wonderful. So this is great. The appetizer will be one episode of this. I'll tentatively put the house one on as the one episode, but I'll probably look up on TikTok and see if there's an episode of this outside of that people recommend as their favorite, because this was recommended to me via TikTok. So we'll see. Okay, with our last spin of the wheel, I really hope that we get another visual entree, because I would love to put a movie on here, but I guess that's what I get for making this whole thing random. So this is gonna be spin number 8. Beautiful. That is so beautiful. Okay, perfect. So we have our prompt jar, and the prompt is, okay. A tearjerker. So, I'm gonna have to just go back to my classic tried and true for when you want to feel something list, because like I said, I've loved most of the movies that are on this list that I have seen. I feel like for the most part, the actual media that I've pulled is pretty fall, but I mean, I know the theory of everything is supposed to be pretty devastating. Pretty sure God's Own Country is as well. After Sun, Moonlight, of course. You know what? Actually, let's see. Best tearjerker films. Let's ugly cry together. Okay, wait. I didn't know My Life as a Zucchini is a tearjerker. I've wanted to watch this for so long. Okay, literally the first line of the description being after his mother's death. Okay. Sometimes we cry because we're happy. After his mother's death, Zucchini is befriended by a kind police officer, Raymond, who accompanies him to his new foster home filled with other orphans his age. Have I ever read what this is about? There, with the help of his newfound friend, Zucchini eventually learns to trust and love as he searches for a new family of his own. Oh my God. Okay, well, that's a strong contender. That's insane that I've never known what that's about. Please, not Charlie St. Cloud. I used to tear up just seeing that trailer play. Honestly, I'm still thinking about My Life as a Zucchini as I'm scrolling. Oh, Paddleton. Paddleton has been on my list for a minute. A comedy of dramatic proportions, an unlikely friendship between two neighbors becomes an unexpectedly emotional journey when the younger man is diagnosed with terminal cancer. Yeah, there's honestly a lot on this list that I think I would really, really like to get to. Paddleton has just definitely been on my radar, and so has My Life as a Zucchini. I don't know what it is. Something about My Life as a Zucchini has really just stuck out to me. I really feel like that could be one of my favorite movies. So I fear perhaps I have to go My Life as a Zucchini. And I'm going to. I think we can just tell I've already decided. So we're gonna go My Life as a Zucchini, directed by Claude Barras. I don't know exactly how to say that. This is an animated film. Like I said, I do fear that this could be an all-timer for me. So really excited about that. I don't know that it has any kind of fall vibes to it whatsoever, but I do think it could be really an emotional journey for everyone involved. So yeah, perfect. Okay, that's gonna be media menu item number 8, which does bring us to the end of the creation of the media menu. Now, this method was very interesting because I feel like when I think about it in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's nothing on here. I think that's just because I know that there's only 2 actual books, and that's what's making it feel very strange to me. I think the heavy appetizer presence is what's making me feel like a little off kilter here, you know? But we actually have 5 books. It's just that 3 of them are shorter, one of which is like tiny. But there are books. So I guess let's go ahead and run it back and walk through everything that we are working with for the media menu for the month of October. Okay, for appetizers, we have Thornhenge by T. Kingfisher, which is the short fairy tale retelling novel. Create Dangerously by Albert Camus, which is the speech he gave on the power and responsibility of the artist. The 99% Invisible podcast, episode yet to be determined, but potentially The House That Came in the Mail, which is the episode that the host recommends you start with. We'll see. For our main courses, we have Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare for Book from a Favorite Author, Legendborn by Tracy Dion for Start a New Series, the limited series Adolescence for Limited Series, the movie My Life as a Zucchini for Tearjerker, and for the dessert category, we have All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is the first novella in the Murderbot Diaries series, and I will be listening to it as an audiobook. If you can't tell, I am about to completely lose the sunlight. It's still a little bit bright outside, but the sun has disappeared behind the building outside my house, so that means that I'm out of time for today. So that is next month's media menu. I think it's sufficiently fall. I think it has good fall vibes with quite a few of those options. Obviously, this leaves room for me to read more fall books just like whenever it strikes me. Like I can just be mood reading more often than I usually would, which honestly I'm kind of looking forward to. I kind of like the idea of that, especially because fall feels more like a mood reading time. So I'm honestly very optimistic about this format for the media menu. I guess we'll have to see how it actually plays out next month, but I'm feeling good. So anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Comment a little leaf if you made it this far. Okay, again, if you have any recommendations for the appetizer cup, she's running low. So anything short and quick that you love, let me know. Okay, bye.